On February 1, 2025, President Trump sent shockwaves through North America by announcing a 25% tariff on all goods imported from Mexico and Canada. He cited concerns over border security, the flow of fentanyl, and unfair trade practices. However, in a move that surprised many, he agreed to a 30-day pause on these tariffs just days later. This pause came after intense negotiations with both countries, offering a brief reprieve from what threatened to be a major economic conflict. However, the tariffs on China remain firmly in place, a stark reminder of the ongoing trade war between the two economic giants. This temporary truce raises the question, is this the end of the trade dispute, or merely a pause in a much longer battle? The situation highlights the Trump administration's aggressive approach to trade and its willingness to use tariffs as a lever to achieve its goals. While the pause offers a window for negotiation, the underlying tensions remain. The president's decision to maintain tariffs on China while pausing those on Mexico and Canada underscores the complex web of economic and geopolitical factors at play. As the clock ticks down on the 30-day pause, the world watches to see if a lasting agreement can be reached, or if this is just the opening act in a much larger trade war. President Trump's rationale for the tariffs centers around three key issues: border security, the fentanyl crisis, and trade imbalances. On border security, the president points to the continued flow of migrants and drugs across the US-Mexico border. He argues that Mexico has not done enough to stem this flow, and that tariffs are a necessary tool to force action. The fentanyl crisis, a major public health emergency in the United States, is another driving force behind the tariffs. The president blames Mexico for not doing enough to crack down on the production and trafficking of this deadly opioid. Lastly, President Trump has long argued that existing trade deals are unfair to the United States. He contends that Mexico and Canada benefit disproportionately from these agreements, leading to job losses and factory closures in the U.S. The tariffs, in his view, are a way to level the playing field and protect American workers. Whether these concerns are enough to justify the economic risks associated with tariffs remains a point of contention. Critics argue that the tariffs are more likely to harm American businesses and consumers than force Mexico and Canada into concessions. The response from Mexico and Canada to President Trump's tariff announcement was swift and multifaceted. Both countries expressed disappointment and concern over the tariffs, emphasizing their commitment to collaboration and fair trade practices. Mexico, under the leadership of President Claudia Sheinbaum, took immediate steps to address the concerns raised by President Trump. The Mexican government announced the deployment of 10,000 National Guard troops to the southern border to assist in stemming the flow of migrants heading north. Additionally, President Sheinbaum committed to working with the United States to combat the trafficking of fentanyl and other illicit drugs. Canada, led by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, also took concrete actions in response to the tariff threat. Prime Minister Trudeau pledged to appoint a fentanyl czar to oversee efforts to combat the opioid crisis and increase cooperation with U.S. authorities. He also announced plans to designate Mexican drug cartels as terrorist organizations, a move aimed at disrupting their financial networks and operations. Despite these efforts, the underlying trade tensions remain. As tariffs ripple through the global economy, the effects are felt far and wide. Industries brace for impact, while consumers begin to notice changes on the shelves. From raw materials to finished goods, the cost of doing business is shifting. Economists warn of potential slowdowns, but the full extent remains to be seen. It's a complex web, and every thread tugged by tariffs reverberates across borders. Crafting a tariff strategy is as much an art as it is a science. Policymakers must balance protecting domestic industries with the risk of retaliation. It's a delicate dance where one wrong move can lead to unintended consequences. Historical precedents provide some guidance, but the global landscape is ever-changing. In the end, tariffs are a tool, one that must be wielded with precision and care to shape economic outcomes.